We should probably have a serious conversation about the ratings and everything that's happening between AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. And I understand that this might be a little bit of a, I don't want to say controversial take, but it's very clear that AEW Dynamite has lost fans. I think we can all agree on that. And the proof is in the numbers. I mean, it's not just the attendance, it's not just the viewership, but pretty much numbers are down. And I'm not one of those guys that's going to doom and gloom this entire scenario. I'm not saying AEW is going to die. I'm not saying AEW is dead. In fact, I'm not even saying that AEW can't rebound from what is happening here. But what I can say is that there was a time where AEW was pretty much killing NXT. And that's not really the case so much in 2024. Now, for those who don't know, this past week, Tuesday night's WWE NXT episode averaged about 680,000 viewers, while AEW Dynamite had an average of 594,000 viewers. And the reality is, this is becoming a new trend, where AEW Dynamite is being outperformed by WWE NXT. And I think it's important to have this conversation, one, to understand different perspectives. So if you guys have a legitimate perspective, I ask that you leave a comment down below because I'm curious. Did you stop watching AEW? Do you care about AEW anymore? Like, obviously AEW lost fans because there was a time where AEW was doing 800,000 to 1 million pretty damn easily. And don't get me wrong, NXT is in a situation where I'm not even that impressed by their numbers, but it is WWE's third brand. They're developmental. And for some reason, this brand is beating AEW Dynamite, the flagship show. I'm not talking about Rampage. I'm not talking about Collision because those aren't the flagship shows. So I don't really care. Those are purely designed to offer additional content from AEW to Warner Bros. Discovery. However, AEW Dynamite being the flagship show, bringing in under 600,000 viewers is interesting. So what is it that AEW did to lose viewers? Now, I often talk about AEW, and I often talk about WWE, and I feel like AEW has alienated a certain percentage of their fans. Whether that was because of Cody Rhodes leaving or CM Punk leaving, it is very clear fans have left the company. Fans are no longer loyal to the company. And what is that reason? And then I started watching Dynamite this week, as I do every week, and I've come to the conclusion that the show wasn't really that bad. I mean, I've been saying that. I know if you guys watch my content and actually listen to what I say, you would know that I feel like lately AEW, especially with the Continental Classic, it's been relatively fun to watch. But obviously, there is something missing. There is something happening on TV that is not hooking in viewers. I read something on Twitter, and I wish I understood or remembered who wrote this. So my apologies. This was not an original thought, but somebody on Twitter had posted something about AEW not having a credible babyface at the top of the card. And I kind of thought about that for a second. That is actually really true. In that same conversation, I saw a lot of people saying that it should be Kenny Omega, which I would agree with. I also saw another tweet on my For You page that said AEW should make Kenny Omega AEW's Roman Reigns, which I don't agree with that. But I've seen a lot of conversation here about AEW and not having a credible babyface. And then I kind of thought about it. I'm like, look at Cody Rhodes in the WWE. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. That is something that WWE has managed to do. They have a top babyface. They actually have several of them. But if you look at AEW's programming, almost all of its top stars are actually heel. And I don't know if that's a benefit to AEW. Now, I think I think very highly of Will Ospreay. Can he be that guy for the company? Now, it's just a personal opinion. I would like to think so. I would like to say yes. I think Will Ospreay could, in fact, be the top guy for AEW. Tremendous in-ring talent, really underrated on the microphone, and he is relatively liked. But that's not enough. I think AEW storylines, there's flaws in their storytelling. I've been talking about this for years, so it's not a new sentiment. I don't even want to talk about that. Because even though I think they have some flaws in their storytelling, they're offering exciting matchups. And I don't think exciting matchups are enough to draw an audience, but what I do think is, if you had some very credible baby faces that everybody universally loved, and you put them in a big storyline where they're chasing the belt, that's an opportunity to fulfill your fans' needs. But AEW is failing at creating new stars. That's the reality. And I think that's why they are going down in viewerships. I think NXT has done a really good job of building up talent, including that women's division. But they have talent that are booked in positions where you want to see them win. You want to see them doing cool stuff. And then WWE NXT delivers those moments. AEW is not. Now, it's interesting because one of the storylines that I absolutely love with AEW is the Death Riders storyline. I think it's a really good storyline. I think they've been doing a good job, but I see Hangman Page and Jay White and Orange Cassidy all getting involved, but nobody is screaming major babyface. At least not to me. What is it going to take? What is it going to take for AEW to change? This is not some hate post. This isn't some, like, let's bash AEW. I genuinely want to know, what is it going to take for this company to change? I don't know. This is the company that bashed NXT publicly when beating them in the ratings. Now Shawn Michaels is at a point where his brand is consistently beating AEW's flagship show. The tables have turned. So clearly, in this company, something needs to change. There's not one person that can convince me otherwise. If you think AEW is doing fine, cool. I'm glad. Clearly, it's not as popular as it was. And there's going to be ups and downs for sure, but to sit there and try and pretend that's not true, it's a little bit disappointing. So let me know what you guys think down below.